Hey friends, Ash here with Gents. Hope you're doing really well. Today we're going to be talking about some fragrances that are a great bang for your buck. These fragrances don't cost all that much money, assuming you pick them up at a fragrance discount or online, and the quality of these fragrances is great for the price that you pay. This is actually part one of a series. I'm going to continue this on with more videos as time goes, because I had taken down a bunch of fragrances that I thought were great bangs for your buck, and it was just a huge list. So I figured easier to break it out into smaller, more digestible pieces. So let's jump into this. I'm gonna start things off with one of the most obvious great bang for your buck fragrances out there. And it's one that I've talked about a lot. I love the fragrance. I think it's amazing quality for the price that you pay. You can pick this up at discounters for somewhere between 20 and 30 bucks, typically for a 100 ml size bottle. And it is, of course, ENCRE Noir from Lalique. Now this is the original that kicked off the ENCRE Noir line. There's also ENCRE Noir Sport and ENCRE Noir All Extreme. And both of those fragrances are also great bangs for your buck. But we're gonna talk about this one today. I will tell you though, really quickly, if you're looking for the most versatile, most wearable fragrance in the ENCRE Noir line, that's not gonna be this one. It's gonna be ENCRE Noir Sport. This one does not have quite the versatility that one does. That one basically takes the DNA of this fragrance here and makes it a little bit fresher so that you can use it in spring or potentially summer while still being able to pull it off in fall and winter. This one has cypress, vetiver, cashmere, and musk as some of the notes in the fragrance, and some people will tell you that this smells similar to Sycamore by Chanel, which is obviously much more expensive than ENCRE Noir. You will also find some people that say, no, Sycamore smells nothing like ENCRE Noir. It's so much higher quality. ENCRE Noir just can't compete. Now, I own both Sycamore, the Eau de Toilette, and ENCRE Noir, and in my opinion, they do share similarities. When you spray ENCRE Noir on, if you're familiar with Sycamore, you should be immediately reminded of Sycamore. Now, they're not the exact same fragrance, but the way the vetiver comes across here is very similar to how it comes across in the Chanel. So with this one, you're gonna be getting a fragrance that's dark, it's rooty, very woody, a little bit earthy. It smells amazing in terms of the quality. A lot of people will tell you it actually smells like a niche fragrance in a bottle that you can pick up for under 30 bucks most of the time. This one might be a little too challenging for people that are used to wearing, Aqua de Jo or Bleu de Chanel or Dior Sauvage, and that's it. But I think this is a masterpiece when you factor in how much this costs, the quality, and how good it smells. And if nothing else, I think just about every collection should have that fragrance in it. Let's keep this moving. Next up, FERRARI UOMO, and also FERRARI Noble Fig, but we're doing this as one entry here. There are a whole bunch of FERRARI fragrances that I could put in this list as great bangs for your buck, and maybe I'll put some of them in future lists as well. Let's first talk about UOMO. This one has leather, nutmeg, citrus, and cedar as some of the notes in the fragrance. And this one gets compared to Dior Fahrenheit. And to an extent, that's accurate. It smells like a slightly less aggressive Dior Fahrenheit, a slightly more smoothed out Dior Fahrenheit. So a little bit like Fahrenheit made more wearable for today's day and age, if you want to just simplify it. It was done by Alberto Marias, of course really well known for Aqua de Jo, the Ferragamo UOMO line, and countless other fragrances. Actually, I think he's done more fragrances than any perfumer ever. This one was affordable for a long time, really easy to pick up at discounters, and then it just kind of vanished. Couldn't find it anywhere, and people were selling it for jacked up prices on eBay, and recently it's come back in stock again. You can find it on FragranceNet, you can find it on FragranceX. So once again, it becomes a great bang for your buck. If this one goes up in price again to $50, $60, $70 US, at that point, not really a good bang for your buck when you can just go get Dior Fahrenheit for about that price. But for what it's going for right now, as of this video, it is a good bang for your buck, and it is worth mentioning again. And then we've got this one, Noble Fig, which is similar to Figier Eden by Giorgio Armani, which is quite expensive. This one though, right around 20 bucks. It's got clary sage, pink pepper, mandarin orange, and of course, fig leaf as some of the notes in the fragrance. And this one is fantastic for spring. A great casual daytime scent, smells very fresh, with a good amount of sweetness in there. The quality on this one is really, really high, very, very nice. The bottle actually is very good as well. The whole package, fantastic for the price. So this one is gonna get you similar to another much more expensive fragrance, and the quality in that one, really good as well. Next up, let's go with Explorer from Mont Blanc. Now, a lot of people out there might not think of this as being a great bang for your buck because it is so popular. So many people know about this one. You don't really necessarily think of Explorer as being a fragrance that's a great buy, but it is. It's got bergamot, vetiver, Akigala wood, and ambroxan as some of the notes in the fragrance, and it smells similar, of course, to Creed Aventus. Like I say every single time that I bring this fragrance up, but it does, so I've got to say it. Now, it is fresher than Creed's Aventus. You're not gonna really get that smokiness that comes out here. The bergamot in this fragrance is playing the role of pineapple in Creed's Aventus, but this does have the versatility of Creed's Aventus. It has the complement factor of Creed Aventus. It has that wearability, and it costs very little nowadays. Now, obviously, when this was first released, it wasn't quite as good of a bang for your buck because you were paying full retail price for the fragrance. But nowadays, at discounters, it is heavily, heavily marked off. And really, that's the case for Mont Blanc fragrances in general. Once they hit discounters, typically they're marked off quite a lot. And Explorer is no different. So in terms of the quality of the fragrance, the wearability of the fragrance, the likability of the fragrance, and the cost of the fragrance, this one is an amazing bang for your buck. And do me a favor, guys, if you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, make sure you don't miss any upcoming lists or reviews or random stupidity that I put onto the channel. Oh, and sometimes giveaways too, so that's cool. Next up, a personal favorite of mine, Halloween Man X. This one has coffee, whiskey, cinnamon, and tonka as some of the notes in the fragrance. The Halloween Man line costs very, very little. The original Halloween Man is also pretty good. It smells similar to 1 Million. It's in the same kind of style, same family. This one, some people will tell you, smells similar to Ferragamo UOMO. And again, definitely in the same style, in the same vein. This one has a blackjack accord. That's what they call it. And that's made up of leather, whiskey, and coffee. So most of the notes that I read off before, they comprise that blackjack accord. Of those notes, the coffee is what comes through the most. You get this really nice roast coffee. And of those 3 notes, leather is actually the one that I pick up the least of. It's got a good amount of sweetness, good amount of spice. It smells fantastic. Big compliment puller, great for fall and winter, and the best of the Halloween Man line. And that one was actually a really, really, really big surprise for me. I've said this a few times on the channel, but I covered this on This Week in Fragrance, where I talk about upcoming releases, and I had no hope for this. I thought it was gonna be complete trash, got it in, and was blown away at how good it is for the cost. And the last fragrance in this video is a classic. It's from Davidoff. It is ZINO. This one has rosewood, lavender, patchouli, and sandalwood as some of the notes in the fragrance, and it is really, really good. Again, you're looking at somewhere in the range of $20, low 20s to pick this one up, and that's a full presentation. This one is a classic masculine fragrance, and it actually doesn't really smell all that dated. It smells similar to Beau de Jour from Tom Ford, which is way more expensive than this one. Now, you'll notice a lot of these fragrances here do have similarities or smell similar to much more expensive fragrances. That's not exactly what I'm going for in this list though. It's not, hey, these cheap fragrances smell like more expensive ones, though a lot of these do smell quite similar to more expensive ones. These are just fragrances that I think are an amazing buy for the quality of the fragrance versus what you pay. And while this, you could say, oh, Chanel Sycamore, you could say Aventus, you could say Beau de Jour, you also have Halloween Man X, which is kind of its own thing other than potentially Ferragamo UOMO. And I don't think too many people out there are gonna think Ferragamo UOMO, that's the pinnacle of fragrance expense. What I mean by that is it's pretty cheap online. So even though I'm not really going for that smells like an expensive fragrance, but it's cheap thing with these fragrances, it does work that way too. So anyway, this fragrance right here, like I said, is classically masculine. The rosewood, the lavender especially, coming through very strongly. Smells slightly barbershoppy, but in a very good way. It's got good depth to it, so it's not really a barbershop fragrance that comes across screechy and sometimes a little bit metallic with not a lot of bass underneath it, not a lot of depth underneath it. You don't have that issue with this one. Nicely rich, gentlemanly, and refined. It's a fantastic fragrance and a great buy. All right, guys, it's gonna do it for me. This is part one. Like I said, we're gonna have more parts coming in the future that feature other fragrances that are amazing bangs for your buck. And if you're watching this sometime in the future and one of these is more expensive, understand that they were cheap when I shot the video. All right, guys, let me know in the comments below, what are some of your favorite fragrances, bang for your buck wise? Which ones do you think, man, I didn't pay that much for this one and it is so good. All right, that's gonna do it for me. Stay safe out there. I'll see you guys tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you later.